Okay, I'm going to be trying to install a base plate. It's a Roadmaster base plate to my 2021 Ford Escape Hybrid. I've removed this panel in accordance with the instructions that they give you. They of course talk about pulling the panel back and pulling the inside piece, just tucking it in a little bit so that you can get to the screws that are up underneath here. I don't think you can see them. I'll get a light on in there. Okay, that is the screws right there. There's two 10 millimeters that you have to remove to get this piece off of here to get the whole fascia out. The problem is that in the instruction manual and in the video that etrailer puts out, the unit is real nice on a raised platform, either on a raised jack situation or on a lift. I can't do that. I'm in a barn and I don't have that equipment available. I used the jack stand to raise it up, and I had to take the wheel off so I could get access to this point. Plus the fact that I'm going to be running wires from the front all the way to the back, and to get it around the wheel well, it's going to be a lot easier having this all off. And the other situation is somewhere in here I'm going to have to measure and drill a hole through the firewall to get wiring on the inside for the brake buddy disconnect and for external power to the brake buddy, because once this thing is being towed, according to the manual, you put it into an actual tow mode and leave it in neutral and then turn everything off, so there's no available power on the inside for the brake buddy. So I use the aux power from the motorhome to run the brake buddy. Have to get the wiring through there. So that's why I take this off. On the other side, I'm going to try, because all I have to do is get those removed, get it close enough to get those bolts removed. So I'm going to try and do that without having to pull the wheel. But if I have to pull the wheel, I have to pull the wheel. So then from then on, I'm going to show you what it looks like after it's been pulled, and show you how the installation is going to go. This is the bar itself, and with two brackets, one for each side. And these are the things that fit into the front of the bar. These two here are adapters that are going to go onto my Roadmaster tow bar. The thing is, I wasn't going to buy a brand new tow bar. The Roadmaster I have is less than a year old. It was for our other car, which unfortunately got totaled, which is why I'm having to do this. But the Blue Ox tow bar, it's got different ends on it. I thought about using a Blue Ox base plate, but according to etrailer, they don't make a Blue Ox base plate for an Escape Hybrid. So we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. Alright, this is how this bracket on this side goes. Actually, it was pretty easy to get this thing in here. Use that nut on a thing, stick it in there, tighten the nut. There's a nut back there. Tighten, and then these two here that you lose, take off and tighten. And that's pretty much this side bracket. Do the same thing for the other side. Like they say in the manual on this side, I'm going to have to do some cutting here and here to get you some space, get space enough to have this bracket on there. So I'm going to take a zip saw and go through that and get that trimmed down. Well, there it is, all assembled. Bolts go there, nuts. Everything's nice and tight, level. You have to, there's this wire here, it's got a little holder there, you have to pull that out. And what I did is I tie wrapped it back underneath here, but so it doesn't get crushed by this. This here is loose, it doesn't get bothered by that. And the other side, of course, looks the same. They got this tab here for if you've got the plug-in hybrid, the pump goes here. Obviously, since I don't have a plug-in, it's not going to work. It's not going to need it. So on this side here, there's a hole, which is the bolt for the piece of equipment that was there. Not sure what this is, but this will go back on here somehow. Probably have to go like this somehow because you gotta be able to plug it in. You gotta reach the plug. I'll figure that out. I'm not sure exactly how it looks in the manual. It doesn't show it very good there. So anyway, I did make one little error, which way I could do this thing here, which is basically just a rubber air intake. That's supposed to go on here, and obviously it's supposed to go on before you put this on. I'm not going to bother taking this off. I got Glitol on all the screws and stuff like that. All this is a piece of air. What I'm going to do is just take and cut this right here, slip it on, slip it through, and then just glue that back together again. And like I said, it's just a kind of an air scoop. It's certainly not going to hurt anything doing it that way. Alright, the next stage is going to be to run the wiring. Put my connector on here, and I'll start running the wires back through here. One thing I've got to do is figure out how I'm going to get through the firewall here to find out a logical place. I think it's probably going to be right in there somewhere, so that I can get my wires up inside, and then the rest of the wires I'm going to try and string back down through here somehow. This thing is hollow here, so I should be able to tap them through there. That's one of the reasons I bought a cable that was shielded or sleeved, got a rubber sleeve on it, so that it keep it free from noise or from dirt and stuff. So we'll go on from there. Okay, one thing the instructions don't tell you is that the cable for the pad is not long enough going that way. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, you have to go back underneath here, pull this clip there, and then also there's a clip way up in here that you have to pop loose. Get it loose, get it up underneath here like this, back through here, and then back through there for the mount. I can't. Anyway, gotta get right through here, so it's long enough to plug into the back of the pad unit. Then you probably have to tie wrap it underneath on the wire somewhere. Okay, I got this back in. The thing is, you have to cut this out here and here to clear this, and on both sides. And I'm glad I had it still out. everything clips back in. One note is the 2 push pins here and the other one. Make sure you save those separate when you take it apart, because they're a different size than all the rest of them. And if you try and put one of the ones that go to the rest of the stuff in there, it doesn't fit. I had a heck of a time with that because I had all mine in one bag, and I'm sitting there trying to force it in and it wouldn't go in. So I finally went through the whole bag and found out that there's a couple of them that are a different size. I'm not sure if there's going to be any more that are like that, but it's kind of stupid that they wouldn't even use the same size push pins. But anyway, this fits fine and do the job. I put some glue on this one slot down here where I cut it off. But like I say, I'm glad I did it, because if I would have put this on there without cutting it, and even if I did cut it, I wouldn't know exactly. The picture in the manual doesn't show very good on how far back to cut it. So it might have been, I might not have cut it back far enough, and then I'd have to really be in a pickle. So anyway, make sure you get that fit in, cut back as far as you can, and up as far as you can, and down there, and then save those 2 push pins separately so that you can get them back in the right holes. Okay, lucky in this one here, if you look way down there, there is a hole in the firewall right there. It's got this rubber plug thing in there, and it comes out. Pardon my movements. Right under there. Right there. So it's a little awkward to get this cable through there, because you got to get your hands snuck in there and pull it. And if you got big hands, it's very hard. But anyway, that'll go through there, through this, plug it back in, put some RTV on it to seal it. And this one here is still got to go down that way. So left the sleeving on that. Put new sleeving on the other side. So let's go from there. Well, this is how it looks from the front. I had to cut a little piece down here to get this over there, and I had to cut a little piece out of here for the breakaway switch. This one here, cut out according to the measurements, fit real good, as you can see. And as this side, of course, didn't fit right, so I had to do a little bit of adjusting to get it over there. I don't know why the measurements are that much different, but they are, so obviously that's one thing to look out for when you go to do this. If you use those measurements that's in the brochure, in the instructions, they may or may not fit just right, so that's just the way it goes. It still can't really tell that far from the front to, if you quick glance at it, that it's got a little bit of a problem. So now it's a question of putting all this stuff back together again. I was able to route my cable. I've got to figure a way to tie this up, but I was able to route it underneath this plastic all the way back here to this point. And then from this point, I've got to lift this up, take the wheel off, get access to that to run it back there to get it underneath the inside the back. So we're gonna get the front back together again, get it off the jacks in the front, and jack up that one, take the wheel off, and go from there. So that's where I am right now. Okay, this shows how I'm doing the wire routing here. Came through the underside here like I showed before, up to here, sleeve it in. I'm going to use these glue-on tie wrap blocks, places up in here, tie wrap it up here, run it back behind there, tie wrap it here, and then run it right through that rubber right there, which puts it right there. And I'll just RTV that to seal it, make sure it doesn't get and run this down here. My wires here, tie in those wires there, run my white, red and black to ground, come back up through here, tie it to there, clean everything up, put everything back together, and it will be done. This is how I did my diodes. Just tied them here to the screen, sleeved them out, tied them up to here. And this thing here is for the cigarette, for the 12 volts. It's got to go back onto there when I'm finished doing all this. So that's what I'm going to do, put it all together, and should be all done. Okay, I'm going to mount my Curt adapter, input here, right side stop and turn, left side stop and turn and ground. Output is separate right turn, left turn, and black, red for combined for brake for both sides. I've got a place I'm going to mount it on this sub panel that fits along here, and it's got a little indentation out there. I got a big long tie wrap. This thing has some tape on the bottom to help secure it. I'm going to secure it down there and then do my wiring for this side for all the ones that come off of here, and tuck everything away and nobody will know it's there. Okay, this is how I mounted the two wire to three wire splitter and the battery charger, fuse, trickle charger, converter. Wiring ties into the wire that came from the front, going through here, and one lead for the red positive and negative going out there, which is going to be tied in at that point there. So all this stuff is going to go back together and finish off the tying that one, and we'll be done. Okay, now we see this is all back together again here. The cable's coming out here and here. That's the tie into ground right there. There's one wire here for ground, and the red wire goes to the cable that's coming from the front. These wires go to the cable that's coming to the front. That'll come through here. Right now I don't have time to run that because I have to run it when I put the plate, the tow plate on, and I'm not ready to do that yet, and we're going to need the car for a while. So this is just going to get tied off in here. I've got to put this thing for the battery back on here. Kind of a Mickey Mouse arrangement, but that's what holds the spare tire on. Goes there. And then these nuts go on there. I'll have to those nuts screw down. Then I've got to put this tire thing back on. What I'm probably going to have to do, this is just a foam piece of whatever, so the tire rests on it. It sits like that and like that. What I'll probably do is cut a little channel in here and here for these wires so that this still sits flat. It sits fairly flat anyway because it's got a bump here and a bump there. But it's easier if I just take a file and file a couple of flat spots in there and there. Put that together. Then everything here will be gone together, and it's on to the flat plate toe plate and the wiring from the front to the back, and also to the inside for my These are the wiring diagrams that I've put together for the system. This one here is the actual pin out of the left side, right side, with the color codes that I found on my particular vehicle. Like I say, explain here, you will need to check out your own vehicle, make sure that it's correct, but that's what I found on mine. This one here is the diagram of the system as it is installed. I have 5-wire cable that I ran from the front to the back with these colored wires. If you get another different type of cable, they may be different colors, but basically you've got the 3 wires. We have 2 wires coming over here to the CURT 2 to 3 wire converter. That's our right turn signal and brake for left turn signal and brake, and of course ground. Those wires come out as right turn, left turn, and a combined brake. Brake goes to the 2 diode modules like so, and then the other side of that module is a split wire from the left and right brake lights, and then the center, the single pin of the diode goes back to the pin, which in turn goes back to the light itself. And you've got the same thing with the diode, the tail lights and the right turn signal and the tail light and the left turn signal. So that's the way it's wired, and this is the main battery that's in the rear in my car. Of course, it's a hybrid. If you don't have a hybrid, obviously the battery is not going to be in the rear, so if you do use a charger module, then obviously it's going to be wired in the front rather than the rear, so you'll have a wire coming from your front connector into the module, and then the module will have the white wired ground. Oops. Sorry about that. White wire to ground, and then the black wire to the positive of the battery. Well, that's my installation of the Roadmaster baseplate system using blue ox adapters and wiring for the tail lights, brake lights, and turn signal lights to the back of the car, and power and input for the brake buddy to the driver's side interior. Please excuse the video. It's very jumpy, and I don't have a very good camera equipment. I've got a old Sony movie camera that's many years old, and still seems to do the job. And it's good enough for just getting an idea of what's to be done. If you use the equipment or the diagrams that come with the base plate, and you watch a couple of the videos from etrailer, I'll put a link in the comments about etrailer and the part numbers and such. And if you see the information from there and follow that pretty close, you should be able to get that done in a fairly decent manner. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.